Hey guys, so in this video I will talk to you a bit about my recent trip to Cuba. So first, in planning a trip to Cuba, I decided that I was gonna fly to Cuba. I actually went on a group trip, which was a 5-day, 4-night trip to Cuba. So that worked for me. Other options are to take a cruise, but as I mentioned, I flew with JetBlue. And a lot of people ask whether or not a visa is needed. I am a U.S. citizen. I was flying from JFK or New York City, and so I knew that I needed to purchase a visa. The way I purchased my visa was I got my visa from the JetBlue counter. When you get to JFK, there is a specific there's a specific area where you go to check in for flights to Cuba. When you go there, you go to the front desk and you check in with the desk agent. They will provide you with your boarding pass along with the visa. The visa was $50. It's $50 for JetBlue, and I believe it's $50 for Delta. If you fly on American, it is $100. United, I'm not sure how much their visa is. But my visa was $50, and I had to pay for my visa with a debit or credit card. They did not accept cash at the desk. Also, the lady who helped me was very nice. Most people, you have to fill out your visa in pen. You pretty much just writing out a lot your information, who you are, passport information as well. But if you make a mistake, you can't really erase it or scratch off, so you have to buy another visa. But luckily, I used a pen that was erasable. In the event that I made a mistake, I did it, but that definitely came in handy, so I just want to make a note of that. In preparing my research for Cuba, a lot of the questions I had was about money. Am I able to spend money? We know that due to the embargo, a lot of U.S. exports and imports don't come from or do business with Cuba. And as such, American money is not accepted in Cuba, nor are American cards. So unfortunately, I had my debit and credit card with me, but I couldn't use it. So to prepare for that, I made sure that I had cash on me. About a week or two before I was ready to go, I went to my local bank and I requested money in euros. I have Chase Bank. Chase was able to give me to exchange my US dollars to euros, and they told me that they would give me a call within 48 hours to pick up my money. I was able to pick up the euros from the bank, and that is what I took with me to Cuba. Once I landed, I was able to take the euros and change them to CUC, C-U-C, which is the Cuban dollars that tourists pretty much use. And so the exchange was not a problem at all. Fortunately, when I was changing my CUC back to euros, I went inside past security, and I was able to exchange my CUC for US dollars. Changing it back, I was able to get more money in US dollars than I was able to get in euros. So that definitely worked for me. And the only reason why I did the exchange when I went past security is because the currency exchange place outside of the security area had ran out of euros. So that worked in my favor. So you make sure you have enough money. You know how you spend. For myself, I was there for 5 days. I estimated that I would spend maybe $100 or 100 CUC a day, and so that's how I calculated how much money I would need. A lot of the things that I did was already included in the total for my trip. So different activities that we did, different meals that we were scheduled to have as a group were paid for in advance, and so I really didn't end up spending that much money. Meals for the restaurants that we went to, one night meals were $12. Another night it was maybe $20. Bottled water, sparkling water was about $2. And alcoholic beverages were between $2 to $3. So I was drinking mojitos, loved the mojitos, and they were about $2 to $3 at the restaurants that we went to. Something to take note of if you are looking to get like mixed drinks like daiquiris. If you want a mango daiquiri, you are getting the mango. Like, they will cut up the mango, they will blend it, they will add alcohol to the mango, and that is your drink. They don't use syrup like we use out here, and so it gives you a different taste, but it was good. Everything was good. And I'll show you guys pictures of the drinks and some of the food that I ate while I was out there. Going back to the flights, when you do book your flight, they ask for the reason for your travel. As I mentioned, I was going with a group, and our reason was to support the Cuban people. We were going there as tourists to learn information about the culture of the Cuban people, and, you know, to learn about Cuba as a whole. We were instructed to, as best as possible, bring checked carry on luggage and not checked luggage, because it was a group of us, and we had different meeting points and times where we had to be at certain places, and so we were instructed to carry on our bags on a plane. That way we wouldn't have to wait for our luggage to come through the terminal, because Cuba is not up to date with their with their, I guess, let's say, luggage infrastructure like we're used to here in the States, where everything moves fast. By the time you get off the plane, your bag is there. It doesn't work that way in Cuba. There were a few people who checked their bags, and they were able to get it immediately after getting off the plane with no problem, but I was able to pack 5 days worth of clothing, don't ask me how, into my carry-on suitcase. So some of the things that you can do in Cuba, something that is very popular, and what we did is the classic car tour, which we really loved. Fortunately it stopped raining, so we were able to catch our tour, but it did rain on the afternoon of our car tour, and so we had to wait for the rain to stop and for the drivers to kind of wipe down the seats to make sure that the leather was dry so that we could sit comfortably in the car. And the classic car tours took us around the city. We was able to see different sites in the city of Havana, and we was able to stop at Plaza de la Revolucion. Don't judge me on my Spanish. And then we met as a group for dinner. Another event that we went to was the Vinales day tour. So Vinales, it was a 2 to 2.5 hour ride to Vinales, and it's a guided tour. We was able to go through major sightseeing spots, different tourist attractions, and learn about the culturally rich and important part of the Western Cuban culture. We also stopped to see the prehistoric mural that is like painted on, I want to say, like the side of a cave. It was very beautiful. And we had pina coladas. This is where pina coladas was expensive. Not expensive, but the pina coladas was $5, and you were able to add your own liquor to it. Like, it can't get no better than that. So we took a short boat ride along the underground river that runs below the mountains in the area, and that was a sight to see. Not a place to go if you're claustrophobic, but if you're not, definitely see if you can check it out as one of the places to visit when you go on your Vinales tour. And Vinales is also where you get to visit the tobacco plantation. And so this is the plantation where where the farms actually grow the tobacco. They roll the tobacco to make the leaf into Cuban cigars before they send it to the factory to be tightened up, labeled, packaged, and then sold in stores. So we were able to actually sample and roll Cuban cigars. So that was fun. As I mentioned, traveling to Vinales, leaving from Havana, which is where I went in Cuba. It was about a 2 to 2.5 hour drive. We actually had a taxi with two drivers take us. So the first driver took the first leg of the trip while the second driver was resting his eyes in the back. And then at a rest stop, they switched, and the driver took us into Vinales, and then they did the same thing on the way back, so that we were able to get to and fro safely. Another spot to visit if you're into art and or music is Fabrica del Arte. It's a beautiful art factory, and it has about 6 or 7 different rooms of art, and in each room a different genre of music was playing. So we had live DJs, we had live bands. One room had Bruno Mars's Super Bowl performance playing on the screen, and so that was a very, very nice spot. And it's like a party, so you get to dance, enjoy the music, drink, and also take in the art. To learn a little bit more about the history of Cuba, we visited Museo De La Revolucion, and it is a museum which was once the presidential palace and is now dedicated to the revolution. And that was a nice place to be. They have, I think it was 2 to 3 floors with different articles. So, you know, we spent maybe about 2 hours there, if I'm not mistaken. We also did a walk-in tour in Old Havana, and this is where you see the different colored painted buildings. You are walking on cobblestone streets, and we did a lot of walking, but that was where we were able to see how the people in Cuba live and what their lifestyle is. And so that was cool. And also, to add to our sightseeing, we had went to Malecon, and this is where we were able to salsa. I mean, what else can I say? We were able to dance with the locals. This spot was crowded. Not crowded. I want to say packed, not crowded, because it was space to dance. There were live performers on stage. The dancers, you know, got people to come to the front of the stage where they taught, not really taught, but they showed a routine on stage, and so you mimicked them, and it was just like performing with them. It was my face is glowing because it was amazing. I don't salsa often, but I love to dance, and so to be able to say that while I was in Cuba I danced salsa with the locals, I mean, you can't beat that at all. I mentioned earlier about money and going to Cuba to support the Cuban people, and so our main thing was to make sure that we thanked our servers, our wait staff, our tour guides nicely to support them. They rely heavily on tips because they receive very little salary out in Cuba, and so we tipped about $2 per meal, and so you may want to calculate that as well with their currency. I always had some coins in my pocket. They use dollar coins out in Cuba, and so I was able to keep coins in my pocket every day that I went out. So, you know, when we had breakfast at the hotel, leave some coins on the table. We were tipping the waiters. We were leaving coins for them as well. Just something to take note of, and this is definitely for my female travelers. While I had an awesome, amazing experience in Cuba, a few things to be mindful of is carry wipes, tissue, hand sanitizer, things of that nature with you. If you're doing a lot of tours or you're out and about and you're using the restrooms, some of the restrooms will not have tissue in the stalls like we're used to back home. They usually have, I guess the person who cleans the bathroom or who monitors the bathroom who will have tissue, and they'll provide you with, you know, a couple of sheets of toilet paper, and you definitely would want to tip them. But it's easier if you carry your own wipes, toilet paper, hand sanitizer with you. We did a lot of walking, so you want to have comfortable shoes. I am not a heels girl, and so I didn't have a problem wearing my flat sandals at night, and during the day with the tours I wore my sneakers. The people out there, no one was really, other than those who were tourists, the local people really didn't dress up to go out. They pretty much was just going out with whatever it is that they had on, and was still able to have a good time. You want to be open to new experiences. We were told before we got there to be open-minded. We're leaving the United States to go to Cuba, and because of the embargo, Cuba is a little bit behind in the way they do things versus how things are for me in New York City. And so a 4 or 5 star hotel in Cuba would be like a motel, you know, or a 2-star hotel in the United States. And so we had to be mindful of that. I had a roommate. The room wasn't that bad. The water pressure, if you're not used to taking cold showers or no showers, get used to it. Sometimes my roommate and I would have to check with one another. Okay, you're about to get in the shower. All right, good. Get in. Move quickly so the next person can go in, because you don't want the water to turn cold. One day we came in from a long day, so you know you're a little sweaty, you've been out all day, it's hot in Cuba, you know, it's the Caribbean, and you want to shower so you can change your clothes to get ready for dinner, and we had no water. And that was maybe for about 20 or 30 minutes we didn't have any water. And luckily the water did come on before it was time for us to leave, but had it not, you know, I don't know what I would have done. I did not drink the water like the tap water in Cuba. So at the restaurants I ordered bottled water, like I mentioned earlier. It came in a glass bottle. It was $2. And in the hotel I used the plastic bottles of water to brush my teeth. Internet. A lot of people have questions about the internet. Can I check my email? Can I call my family? Can I text? Wi-Fi, WhatsApp, blah, 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 Facebook even. So at the hotel that I stayed in sold Wi-Fi cards. And I'll tell you the name of the hotel in a moment. I stayed at the Hotel Plaza. And Hotel Plaza was centrally located in Havana. It was really close to the shopping area. And it was a centralized location. And then everywhere we went, if it wasn't close enough to walk, and we weren't on a guided tour, we took cabs. And I'll talk to you guys about the cabs in a minute. But at the hotel, so I stayed at Hotel Plaza, and Hotel Plaza had internet cards. And so I spent $5 for a 5-hour, was it $5? Might have been less than that. And when I say dollars, I mean kook in Cuba. But I got a 5-hour internet card, and we were able to utilize the internet or get onto Wi-Fi only in the lobby area of the hotel. So we couldn't access the internet upstairs in our rooms. And so that would be, you know, you come down early before the group leaves so you can check your messages real quick. When you were out and about, you had no service. And then when you came back to the hotel, you jumped on the internet real quick. I didn't even use, maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours out of the 5 hours that I had. So you don't need to buy too many internet cards. And so I mentioned the taxis. So with Cuba, I'm not sure if I'm saying this right or correctly, but you know how definitely in New York City, there is a car everywhere. It seems like everyone has a car, you know, 2-parent households with teenagers. You got 3 cars. It's not like that in Cuba. And so cars out there are luxury. You'll definitely see a lot of classic cars, and The taxis are classic cars, and people who have regular cars who have to work during the day may turn their car into a taxi in the evening. So you could always negotiate a taxi price. You can probably ask like the hotel approximately how much it would cost for you to get from point A to point B. And then when the cab driver pulls up and you let them know where you're going and you get an estimate, you can kind of, you know, bargain or hustle with them in reference to the prices. So there were times where, and I was in a large group. It was about 16 of us. So there were times when we took 3 or 4 cabs at a time, you know, 3 or 4 to a cab, and you know the cab had taxi written on it, but at night when we was coming from like the art factory, we just used, you know, a couple of guys to take us back to our hotel. And that's because, like I mentioned, everyone doesn't have a car, and you know the people out in Cuba have low wages, so they make money off of being a cab driver. We had no concerns with the safety out in Cuba. It was definitely very safe. We had no concerns in that area. Want to talk to you a little bit about the people in Cuba. They are very nice. They were excited to have visitors. They were very friendly with us, very warm greeting, which you see a lot of times when you visit like all-inclusive resorts. But these were just people that you see every day just passing by who, you know, appreciated the fact that they had visitors from the United States or from outside of Cuba. So that was definitely nice. Other things to remember as far as like your packing list. So of course you want to make sure you have your passport, as when you're traveling internationally your passport has to be valid with 6 months from your return date. And so if you plan on traveling to Cuba in, let's say, January of 2019, your passport cannot expire February of 2019. It would have to at least expire, you know, from July 2019 or further out. So you don't want to get caught with that, because if your passport is going to expire within 6 months of your travel, you may not be able to travel. I mentioned taking the toiletries. If you're not sure how the food is going to work with your body, you can bring, you know, like your Pepto-Bismol, things for your stomach. I did not have any issues. I mean, it took a few days for my body to regulate itself while I was out in Cuba, and I'm not sure if it's because of the difference in the food that I was eating. But once I was able to get myself back on schedule, and y'all know what I mean, then everything was fine. I didn't have any issues, but I did have Pepto-Bismol tablets in case I needed them. I mentioned make sure you have your currency. So euros worked for me. A lot of other people had carried euros with them as well to exchange, but you will have you may not. I'm gonna say you cannot take American money into Cuba thinking you'll be able to exchange it. It's not gonna happen. Don't do it to yourself. Sunscreen, of course. I mean, you're traveling to the Caribbean. We also had some rain, which wasn't bad. It rained maybe like a little heavy for 30 minutes to an hour, and then it lightened up. The sun came out. I mean, it's tropical out there. The weather was warm, so you know, make sure you have your sunscreen. If you're like me and my group and you're out all day, you want to have your portable charger. You want to charge up your phone, because even though you can't make calls, you can take pictures, and you don't want to, you know, be stuck without your phone to do such. Regular chargers worked. So I was able to plug my cell phone charger into the wall with no problem and able to charge my phone. And then I also carried insect repellent because the mosquitoes are out there. And so as I mentioned, I went to Havana, but you can also travel to Santiago de Cuba, which is a different area. There's also a place called Trinidad in Cuba. But my travel, and I think where mainly most people travel, was to Havana. At Fabrica de Arte Cubano, like I said, don't judge my Spanish. if you have an interest in contemporary, visual, performing arts, that is a place to go. There, you know, photos, film, dancing, food. It was a very eclectic place to visit and to experience. And I mentioned that we went to Vinales and we did rolling and sampling of cigars. You are able to bring back Cuban cigars with you. As far as how much, that I'm not sure of. I'm not a cigar smoker. I don't really have cigar smokers in my family, and so I didn't bring back many cigars, but I do know people who I traveled with that bring some. Cubans they're very nice, some of the nicest, kindest people in the world. You know, they are amazing. If you decide to travel to Cuba and you're not staying at a hotel, let's say if you're staying with a host family, they will roll out the red carpet for you. You know, they will give you their hard-earned money and food and, you know, different rations towards your meals. And a way to give back to them is to bring things for the people who you're staying with. You know, they can benefit from shampoos, soap, feminine hygiene products, toilet paper. They would definitely accept that as gifts in if you're staying with a Cuban host family. So definitely keep that in mind. A thing to note about the toilet tissue, a lot of the toilet in the hotel did, but like the toilets at the restaurants, I believe some of them did. But some places the toilets really don't flush. And so you know how you flush your toilet and all the water empties out of the bowl and then you get new water? That doesn't happen in Cuba. What happens is when you flush the toilet, it just adds more water into the toilet already. So yeah, if you, number one, your urine is still going to be in the same toilet when the next person comes in to do it, number one. And also because of how the pipes are, the toilet, they ask that you not place toilet tissue in the toilet. So there's always a garbage can or a basin next to the garbage can for you to dispose of your toilet tissues. And if you really gotta go to the bathroom, hopefully you find a bathroom that flushes and gets rid of everything that is left behind in the toilet. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. And I'm trying to see if there's anything else. I can't think of anything right now. But of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below. I hope you enjoyed my commentary on Cuba, and I hope you enjoyed the pictures as well. Thanks for watching. Bye.